Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Awesome Music Show. And on a Wednesday, we do the Awesome Business Spotlight. And we are excited today, Wednesday, the 17th of January, 2024, the first business spotlight, not the first Wednesday, but the for 2024. And we are grateful to have a very special guest on the show with us today. But before we go into all of that, we want to share some great music with you.
Bless, good evening. I see Brother Marlon. I'm not sure what happened to DLD. I think he might be back on. I hope that everyone is.
All right, I think we lost you temporarily a while ago, sis, but hopefully you hear me much better now.
I'm hearing you.
Got it there. He's free. He's mighty. He's powerful. You know who he is. He's God. He's everything. They cannot stop him. They cannot surround him. They can do whatever they want, but they cannot kill him. He's in control. He's in control. He's in control. He's in control. I said. He's in control. They can do whatever they want, but they cannot kill him. He's in control. He's in control. Yeah, he's in control. He's in control.
All those who are joining, welcome to the Awesome Music Show. All right, so we're hearing from Sister Michelle one more time from the top kid that we lost or feed just a while ago.
He's powerful. He can do everything that's impossible. He lives it. He raised the dead. And he can do it.
So far, we're seeing Minister Marlon Samuel and Anton Dates. Welcome to the show. Thanks for your support as always, bro.
You know who he is. He's got everything.
Let's hope for a great broadcast.
They can do whatever they want, but they cannot kill him. He's in control. He's in control. He's in control. He's in control. Give Jesus the honor, give him the praise. Give him the glory that is due unto his name. He is the King of kings. He is the Lord and he reigns forever and ever and evermore. Got his head, got his brain, got his mighty, got his powerful. They know who he is. He is God, he is everything. We cannot stop him. We cannot resist. They can do whatever they want, but they gotta kill him. He's in control. He is in control. Yeah, he's in control. He's in control. He is the King of kings, and he is the Lord of lords. He is the King of Zion, the conquering lion. He reigns forever upon his throne in heaven. Forevermore, he reigns forever. Got his hair, he's great, he's mighty, he's powerful. You know who he is, he's God, he's everything. They cannot stop him, they cannot arrest him. They can do whatever they want, but they cannot kill him. He's in control, he's in control. He's in control, oh, he's in control. He's in control. They can do whatever they want, but they cannot kill him. He's in control, he's in control, yeah, he's in control. He's in control.
All right, so he's in control. What a song to start the show off with today. Just being comforted by the fact that God is in control. And so many times, situations are going out of control in our personal lives. But this song is always encouraging us that God is still in control. And I'm grateful for that kind of encouragement tonight. We may be having some little challenges with the internet, but we have prayed that God will just keep us on the show for the next 35, 40 minutes without any interruption so we can get this book launch out and ready for you all to share with your family and your friends. So today is the first awesome business spotlight for 2024, and I'm pleased to have on the show today. She is an entrepreneur, she is an educator. She recently completed her studies as well in university, and we're going to be telling you more about that as well. She is a singer-songwriter, recording artist, and now she has added another title to the list of ministries that God has blessed her with, and that is the title of author. I speak of no other person than my special guest, Sister Michelle Cien Augustine, live from Trinidad. How are you doing, sis? Welcome to the show.
Brother DNC, I am blessed in the Lord. How are you doing?
I'm great, sis. I'm great. And it's really good to have you on. And publicly, I want to congratulate you for the work that you have been doing and also for allowing God to use you with this show because He is just amazing with the things that He's doing in your life. The last time you were on the show, we were talking about your business, Beyond Top Succeeders, which has been doing well. But God has now blessed you with a new book. And the title of the book is really, really powerful, From an Academic Failure to Academic Success. Tell us a little bit about some of your failures that you have had, because many of us, we have had failures in life, in our academics, in our marriages, in our families, you name it. But the way we deal with them differs from one person to another one. Tell us a little bit about some of your failures that you have had and how you managed to overcome some of those failures.
Okay, so I would start firstly with academic failure because when I was really young, let's say childhood, around the age of 5, 6, 7, I disliked, or you could say hated, studying. I know it's a strong word, but it was the reality back then. And because of my dislike for studies, my grades reflected. So I was getting an F literally every end of term. And that was happening for approximately 3 years. On top of that, I have some family members who every time the end of term came around, they would ask another family, how did Michelle do? And they would hear I fail and they would laugh and mock. And it was like, an ongoing joke for them. Even though I knew about it, somehow I never used to take it on too much. But of course, it's not nice having someone, or family members who will start laughing at you at a very young age. When you would expect family members to support you, encourage you to do better in life. Eventually, I would have been in Form 3, that would have been around the age of 9. And the last term, before the last term, my teacher said to me, said, Michelle, if you fail and get an F again, you will have to repeat Standard 3. Of course, that was dreading to me, and I didn't want it that to happen. I don't want to repeat the entire year. So I told my grandmother, who was alive at that time, and she was a pastor. And I believe she was praying for me before, but she took it specially to go out and pray. And when she did, it's like God changed my attitude and my behavior towards my work. So I started to take my studies a little bit more serious. And she also hired one of her sons who he still is, but he don't really teach let me say senior levels, more like junior. Now and again you could say. But he was teaching like from around that standard 3 in primary school straight up till like Form 5. And she hired him to teach both my sister and I. And my grade in maths started to increase constantly. So I went from an F to a D grade in about 3 months. And I got awarded for the most improved student, and that kept improving from there. By the time I was in Standard 5, I would have gotten like a B grade, and I got awarded the second time for the most improved. That time I would have graduated from primary school, heading on to secondary school. And as I entered into secondary school, the success in terms of my academics continued. So especially in maths, because that was the only subject I was taking lessons for at the time, but the others I was still improving on my own gradually. Eventually, by the time I was in Form 2, my maths grade was literally around 98, 99, 100, and it was always around that grade straight up until I wrote CSEC exam in 2011. I went from being literally a failure, and it took some years for me to eventually become first place in class. And I remember when I wrote CSEC, I got 2 awards after I wrote it, and they had graduation. One was for passing all 6 subjects with 2 distinctions. So I had a distinction in maths and a distinction in principles of accounts. And I also got a special award for topping my school in maths that year for being the top student in that school that wrote CSEC. So it started from God changing my situation. But you probably heard me say already in the past, I believe that faith without works is dead, right? So some of the works I had to do was, as my grandmother did, she made sure and at least got someone to teach me lessons, which was part of the works in helping me improve. And it wasn't like an overnight thing, but I was able to go from a failure to a laughing stock. And the people who used to laugh at me when God changed my situation around, they were nowhere to be found in terms of asking anything about their success. So I just say, people may laugh at you now. When God change your situation, the same people who laugh at you will either be jealous or hateful. So let God have his way. So that was one of my failure stories, but that was specifically in terms of academics. However, back then I was still a little bit dependent. I needed a push, right? So my uncle, him teaching would have pushed me, and sometimes I'll have my dad while he was alive, he would say, he'll beat your book. I used to get vexed to be honest. Like, what you tell me to beat my book for? Well, sometimes you think about because my parents really didn't have like subjects and stuff. I mean, like in my head, why did you telling me to do this and you never did? But it's because they wanted to make sure that okay, I have a good life, regardless of if how long they live or when they are gone, right? So it's when I transitioned to university and go on know why God knew why he took my grandmother about a year before I finished upper six, that's advanced levels. Because if he didn't do that, of course I wouldn't have wanted him to. But if he didn't do that, I would have been so dependent on her and I would have gone straight to university. But when she died and she was like my main dependent around that time, I now had to look for jobs. That as was mentioned in the book. But just to fast forward a little bit, I had an issue with my self
Mhm.
discipline, meaning the ability to set goals and accomplish goals and not procrastinating. A lot of persons end up procrastinating, depending on how they plan to do things. And when I started university in 2018, September, my goal was I wanted to graduate with honors. However, I had no clue what it took to get honors. So let me tell you what happened the first day. The first day I
Mhm.
was so happy and eager in class. At least one of the lecturers gave assignments and told us to read the first chapter and answer the questions. So I was like, okay, when I go home, I'm gonna do this homework, get completed and do everything else so I don't have no homework piling up on me. Guess what happened? I started reading that text. And 4 hours passed, and I started answering questions. I started to get frustrated. I was like, I never know this thing will take so long. And I was like, I want to get honest, but I don't understand what's going on here. Is eventually I learned that in university you cannot read everything. There's techniques that you have to apply when it comes to university. And I prayed to God about it.
Mhm.
And God led me and direct me to some of the right people, and I learned some stuff from them. A lot of them were like on YouTube, honestly, and I applied it to my life, and that is why I now offer like a workshop to some students to show them what I have been applying to help me balance at that time was my studies as a full-time student, even though I was not always in college as full-time, but I was registered full-time. So some semesters I'm full-time, and that's a be part-time. Plus I was teaching. So that's like sometimes 6 and 6, 12 hours a day. And then I'm doing music at some point. And then back then I used to be,
Yeah.
I still do minister the word, like give a short exhortation. And then I have my personal life. So it was not easy balancing everything. So I had to learn this self-discipline techniques. And since I have been applying that, that helped me to be able to maintain my self-discipline because I had a big goal, as I said, I wanted to graduate with honors. And by God's grace and
Mhm.
praying after direction and being determined, I was able to graduate with honors. That was last year, July 2023, getting 31 A grades and 12 B grades. So, you know, what that taught me is that sometimes when we want to go higher in life and we want greater things in life, you have to be willing to make adjustments. And I also believe that in everything it's important to acknowledge God. I know I said a
Wow, wow,
mouthful.
that's so powerful. Because yeah, definitely. That's fine, sis. That's fine because a lot of people would have given up, especially when people started to laugh at them. They would have, stopped trying. They would feel, and there's no use going further because I'm embarrassed. But you used that kind of, I would say, embarrassment and laughter to push yourself to
True.
graduating with distinction years and years after. Because a lot of people they give up just before success would have come. They never saw it, and we know several analogies out there of people who just went so close to success, but caused discouragement or people talking about them to give up, and they never reach that success. I'm glad that you pushed through and you have seen the result of your persistence and your hard work. We'll use the time just to greet some people who are on. DJ Apache is on, blessings to you, David Critchlow, Marlon Samuel, and all those who are on both the Facebook and YouTube pages. Thank you so much. We're not on the Instagram platform for right now, but definitely we are grateful for you joining us to share in this powerful book launch and just to uplift our sister on the show. So that's really great. So sis, the last time you were on the show, we were talking about Beyond Top Succeeders, which is one of your other businesses. And I say businesses, and that's something that we know is gonna always keep happening for you. But you talked about your academy, which helps students with CSEC and several other aspects of their school life. And now we are at the point where you have launched a new book from academic failure from an academic failure to academic success. Tell us how this whole idea of the book came about. Yes, you have a very intriguing story, and I believe it's worth writing, but how did you actually come to the point of saying, you know what, I'm going to put a book on the market so people can get it to read?
Okay, so a couple of years ago, while I was in college, I was dreaming big. So I was listening to some
Of
let's say,
course, we have to.
but the dreaming was not just based on I just want to dream, it was based on prophecies of the past. And I was trying to link the
Yes.
prophecies to dreams and make sure that they are in alignment with God. And what I learned, I believe it was the late Dr. Miles Monroe, and I also learned something similar from a man called Dr. Israel Duran, that part of our purpose is based on a pain or failure that we experienced in the past. And we will be able, once we have, let's say, become conquerors or victorious in Christ, etc., we now have that responsibility to share our stories. There are different ways you could share a story to impact others and to encourage others. And I'm saying that because I remember, you probably heard me say this the last time when I was on for my business. I remember when God put in my spirit in 2018 to start a business. However, I
Hmm.
tried to measure the cost and say, okay, I need a place, I need resources, etc., etc. I was like, I don't have the money. And then I just ignored it and moved on with my life. I tried to look for jobs. And then I was getting problems, kind of keep a job. And I called that situation a Jonah
Yes.
experience. Running away from God in the sense
Hmm.
of business in this case. And I end up in a
Yeah.
financial crisis. But before the financial crisis during that period, what happened was God allowed me to work in an institution where I was informed of the testimony of my boss, where he has a school I was working there. And his story was he started in his gallery. And sometimes we think we need to get everything put together, everything perfect, but God wants us to start with what we have. And that story touched me. And that's why I always feel encouraged to share my story. Anytime anybody who knows me well know I don't really like to talk too much. I have grown into talking more now. I was an extreme introvert. So I don't like to just share my business out there for more than one reason. But I share certain things because when persons see, just like me, when persons see that you was here, you used to fail, and your story has been turned around, they could some of them might believe, okay, hey, if that happened to her, what God did it for her, he could do it for me too. So that's why I see the importance of sharing my story. And I believe that God's timing is perfect. But as Ecclesiastes says, there's a time and season for everything under the heavens. I want
Amen.
to write that book earlier last year, 2023. But I kept delaying it and I didn't understand why. But I'm glad that I didn't push too much because God had me to meet someone the latter part of 2023. And I was able to learn from this gentleman how to write a good book, right? Because sometimes, there's something called framing. If you don't write,
Hmm.
even though you want to share a story, if you don't frame the words properly, you may not be able to attract the right audience. So I was able to learn because this book was not going to be named from an academic failure to an academic success. It was going to be probably something slightly different. So I learned how to um, properly write titles, subtitles, and different things, so that
Yeah.
there's from that gentleman because he is a person that has best-selling books. When you frame the words in a particular way, your book will sell itself. You do Yes, you still want to do marketing, but the book by itself, when people see the title and then they see that promise below, which is how anyone could go from
Hmm.
to getting a distinction and even become a business owner. Then they'll be like, okay, I want to get this book if they want to go from failure to success in academics and possibly if they want to become a business owner. So God
Right.
allowed me to pause to learn the right techniques because I didn't know that around September going back in 2023, but I learned that in the latter part. I was able to write the book in a short period because I already had the knowledge. Plus, because I was in university for almost 5 years, I had so much writing to do. You could probably attest, you have so much papers, you have to write sometimes 5 pages, 10 pages, depending on what level you
Mm-hmm.
are. It helped. That has trained me before to be able to write comfortably. So it's not difficult for me to write, right? So
Mm-hmm.
on what you were asking in regards to releasing a book, I know that based on prophecy and stuff of the past, that God wants me to reach the people that He has me on earth to reach, right? And I mean, I haven't sang a song on academic success. I don't know if God would allow me to do that, but there are different ways of reaching people. There are some persons who, because I have shared my story in part about my failure in academics
Yes.
on my channel, but I only reached so much people. Now, there are persons who may not come across my YouTube channel, have not come across it as yet. They might come across the next 10 years, God's spare life. And there are persons who, everybody has a different way of learning. So some people like video, some people like audio, some people like reading, some have a mixture. So everybody has a different technique that they prefer to learn or to read or to absorb information. So
Yes.
I knew it was time for me to release that book for the audience of people who likes to read.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so
Mm, that's powerful. It's
yes.
powerful. Wow. So it's really good though that you came up with the book because your business was already catering to the educational side of your community, kids who are having trouble in school with different subjects, and now you have a book that can reach even a much wider audience. So that complements what you already have in place, and I'm really happy that you have that in place. I love the title of the book, and while you were speaking, as children of God, sometimes people may think it's you get an idea, you just run with it and just do your thing in your own way. But as you said, you saw consultation, you got some help, and
Yeah.
definitely you got the help you needed to get the book to where it's at because you don't want to put a book out that doesn't have an intended audience or nobody is attracted to your book because of maybe the cover is not attractive enough or what it's saying is just not catching the piquing
Yeah.
the interest of anyone. So I'm really happy that you got that kind of help and your book is finally out. And we want to talk about how people can get the book and also what versions, because you mentioned people learn in different ways. Like for me, I'm a visual learner. I can read something and I can get something from it, but I can get much more if I hear audio and see visual, because that's the kind of learning style I like. So how can we find the book and what formats is it available in?
Right now, it is still available in PDF form, as in ebook. So it's on Amazon Kindle, and it's
Mhm.
also on my website, Beyond Top City. Now, I have been working towards getting it physical, well, physical copies, so persons could possibly pre-order for physical copies. I mean, I could go ahead and print a whole set of copies, but I mean, I don't believe it one ways. I just want to make sure that God is leading me to do that right away, or because let's say I have been like seeking God a
Mhm.
little bit to know whether or not I should go ahead and just print 100 copies or should I wait a little bit. So yes, when it comes to the physical copies, persons could pre-order for now. Depending on the demand, then I'll know for sure, okay, I should print in bulk or something like that. I'm still waiting on God to give me some direction because I don't want to just do my own thing and get myself in any problems. But I believe regardless, if
Okay, I see.
it's
I
just
see.
making sure that I get the word out there. Eventually it would be available in audio form as well. Or the audio. Some persons prefer to listen. So like if they're driving and stuff and they don't have time, they can listen while they're driving. So it will be eventually available in audio version.
Okay, that's great. That's great because I mean, having the book available, made available in several different formats is really good. And what we're going to do on the show tonight, we're going to ask people to email you or even call or WhatsApp. We're going to be sharing that information so that if, for those who want to pre-order, I'd love to have a copy of that book because I know that can help me as well in my academic pursuits. Sure, there are several others who will see this broadcast that will love the book. And as Anton in the comment section is even saying, audio would be better for him as well. So all the best to you, sir, Anton Bates. And we're proud of you, sis, that this book has now been launched. And I'm going to allow you to share your information before we end the show of how people can pre-order those books. And I want you to put me on the top of that list. I need one of those copies as well. And then we can also talk about maybe other places that you're going to be launching the book in a physical way where people can come have your autograph. Because I'm telling you, this is not going to be the only book from Sister Michelle. So all those of you who are on tonight, try to get your autograph on this first book because she's going to be having more books and the ministry is going to grow bigger. And maybe for some of these launches, years to come, you might not be able to get even close to Sister Michelle. I'm just speaking prophetically as we go on to just celebrate your successes. I want you to tell us, though, before we share the information about the book, the how people can get the book. Some of the successes you've had though in terms of Beyond Top Succeeders. The book is brand new, so you may not be getting the reviews that you so desire from it as yet. But tell us a little bit about Beyond Top Succeeders and how you've been helping some of these students from failure. I would assume some of them have been failing to now possibly getting better grades. Tell us about some of those success stories. You can just pick one or two that stands out in your mind.
Well, one of them I had registered for classes that was during the pandemic, so it was around 2020. And she was studying principles of business at that time. And the exam
Hmm.
would have been, it did postpone the exam a little bit, I think it's around July or August because of the pandemic. But when I started teaching her, she literally didn't know almost nothing. So I started teaching her textbook material, and then the time became so close for exam, I reverted to focusing on past papers and so forth. And she went from a grade with my class, well, I was directly teaching her. She went from a grade of about 30 something marks to 50 something, and then closer to the exam, she got a little bit more. By the time she wrote the exam, she quit the night when she got the results, and I think it was around September that year because the results came out a little bit later. And she called me and she like, Miss, I got this thing. She screamed and bored, and the mother was like saying, because back then my classes was real cheap. It was like $10 or $15 an hour. And you know, some people would take $10 or $15 an
Hmm.
hour. Why that's so cheap, you know, I'm probably not going to get no kind of high quality
Yes.
service. But the mother said she not expecting that for the price she paid, so she was really shocked too. And then she had other family members. Like up to today, I have a family member. I've like five family members or so from that family passed through me from that incident. And then the same young lady came back to do another subject. Um, and up to today, I have an aunt because I also teach not just students in school, I teach repeaters or adults who want to redo a subject. So her aunt is currently doing a
Hmm.
class with me as well. But that is one of these stories. Let me see. There are, hmm, let me see
Wow.
what.
And that's impressive.
Yes, I've had.
Yeah.
There's like so many. I'm trying to pick another one off my head.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I don't want to put it through no stresses. I mean that one testimony, even if from the time you started the academy, this has been your only success story, it would have meant something because from this one student in this family, you have had, as you said, about five from the same family, and that's success stories over and over because it's because of the success and the achievement of that one family member, why
yeah,
the others could have joined on, and now you could have all of them come passing through your hands. And I'm sure, they will be telling others, others will be telling others, and it will spread. It will spread like wildfire. So I'm really happy for that. And I'm seeing Marlon is saying he hope that would not be his experience, but trust me, I know, especially for me, and I can say this publicly, I struggle with math all my life. And I mean, I would really love one day to pick up myself again and try to do math, at least at the CXC level, because I struggled with math. I was good in many other subjects, but I just had an issue with math. So it's good that your academy is really reaching people in so many different ways in your community. And I'm sure it will get bigger and better. With this book, I hope other radio announcers and disc jockeys will allow you to share your information so that you can get this book out in as many hands as possible, because we know that this is powerful. And I also wanted to ask you, sis, just to share, especially with young ladies. I know the show reaches everybody, but as a young woman and your successes so far, I want to know what you would share with a young lady or a young man who is watching the show. What would be your encouragement to somebody like that today who maybe have gone through several levels of failure and maybe wanting to give up? But what would be your message to someone like that on the show today?
The first thing, I mean, it may not be the easiest step, and some people may not want to do it. However, see God, like literally see God, because I believe, I know that God is not a purposeless God. I also believe that everyone,
Hmm.
God has a purpose for our lives. And me, for example, I had a prophecy that came in my life by 2011, 2012. And I only start seeing that prophecy coming into fruition around 2020, almost 8, 9, 10, and it's still, God is still unraveling things. It's important to, even if you have received a prophecy that God wants you to be some powerful or mighty or great person of God, if that is the case, if you have already received that prophecy, it's usually not an overnight thing. God has to make sure and prepare us for what is to come. Similarly, like the story of Joseph, I usually like to refer to that story. God showed Joseph that his family would bow down to him, which means he would have been in a high position,
Hmm.
right? And he told it to his family, and they were not happy for him. But that's, I even learned that you don't, and some prophets even warn me, be careful what I tell people. So I try not to tell everybody. I mean, there are persons, I believe DLT, you are one of them, who would mean good, but there are some persons who would act as they mean good, but they don't really want good for you. So I also
Hmm.
would like to tell persons, take the season when you are not there yet, whatever God has promised you. For if He has, and if you haven't gotten any prophetic word or where God wants you to be in life, seek God. You may not get the answer tonight, but you will eventually get it. It's just have being able to have that patience. And but if it is God has shown you what He wants you to do, the vision, God always shows the end. And sometimes you want to know. Because I remember I remember a time a prophet told me something about my business. I didn't have a business back then. And because this prophet told me about business and I'll get financing and stuff, I tried to act out a faith thing, but nothing happened because it wasn't time. So you have to make sure
Hmm.
that
Right, right.
God in you. It's always good to find a pastor, a God fearing pastor that is. Plus, depending on what you want to become, or God might be directing you to, if you want to be a business owner, or if you want to do some kind of be some full-time evangelist or something, get someone who has been there, has got to direct you to the correct person. Because I realize from my own experience, there's so much you'll be able to learn on your own. Plus, if you try to learn everything on your own, you take longer and you will experience more failures than you allowing God to directly to the right shepherd. I mean, God is the
Indeed.
true shepherd.
Indeed.
And we could see that through the story of Elisha and Elijah. Elisha was under Elisha for some time until God was ready to take him, and then Elisha's time reached. So it's always good to have that direction, right? And don't try to figure out things on your own. Sometimes certain things might cost you, because I've had to pay for coaches and stuff, and I know that when I pay for coaches, usually it helps me to elevate in my business and different aspects of my life. I've paid for coaches for singing too, because at one point I can belt. You understand? So you don't want to just be ignorant and think, okay, God gave me a talent, but I'm not going to refine this talent or cultivate. This is important, I believe, for us to work on it until our time come. Because when it comes to music, you all know I do music too. By the grace of God, I never thought I was ever going to be a recording artist. I knew I could have sing. I was not that good. I still need improvement, but I I thought I would just, be a person who sing other people's song and probably make like master, what is called the master copies and stuff. But God had a different plan. Is around 2015, I realized during worship, God would just bring original songs. I was like, oh my gosh, God want me to be a recorded artist. And even though God started to release those songs very heavy from 2015, He did not release me to start recording until around 2021. So you don't want to just rush out and be premature and go out there and just do things
Wow,
and then
6 years.
exactly, right? So preparing and asking God, because I believe that, of course, I don't know all things, and I believe that life should be a continuous learning process. Therefore, sometimes I'll be honest, sometimes I'll try to figure it out, and then I'll be like, God, I don't know what to do. Help me here. Sometimes I'll go to God
You leave
first,
it
and
to
then
him.
honestly, I would try to figure it out, and then I still have to go back to God because I know that He knows the way. So allow God to direct and lead your path.
Wow, wow, that's powerful. That's powerful because I know a lot of people become frustrated after trying and trying, and they seem as if nothing is working in their favor, and they would tend to give up. And a lot of people don't even explore other options. But you have given us the solid points first to seek God, and also to wait on Him, and also seek help from other sources. We would consider them destiny helpers. And you said something that's very, very powerful. Not because God has given you a gift or a talent, it doesn't mean that you're not supposed to refine that talent, seek additional training or advice or coaching to refine that talent so you can use it for His glory. So I'm happy that you share that with us, sis. And it's so powerful. I hope somebody on the show today, you could be a young person, you could be a middle aged person, you could be an adult in your retirement, but this can still be something for you because it doesn't matter your age, you are still able to do something and make use of the time that you have on this earth. So that's really powerful, sis, and I'm really encouraged by that. I hope someone watching the broadcast or someone who will watch this broadcast years and years to come will be blessed by it. I want you to share with us, though, how people, before I go to that, you have a newsletter that you send out because I've been receiving those. So for those who are on today, if you are interested in getting on her mailing list, you can also, she's going to be sharing her email address with us, and then you can reach out to her, and she could add you to her mailing list so you could get snippets of the book and also advice and whatever she's sharing, because I'm sure it will be of help to you. So since you could share the email address that you would want us to put out on the platform, and also, yeah, any information that people would want to support your book as well, you can go ahead and share that.
Okay, there's actually a link. I'll put it in the chat. I'm not sure if it will show up blue or not, but I'll put it in the chat. I will put it on Facebook and not Instagram. I meant what is this again? YouTube. I'm not sure if they'll show the link or sometimes they may not. So that is the link if you want to receive newsletters or possibly get more information about pre-orders and stuff. So like as he said, a newsletter.
Mhm.
So when it's have the I would send like the pre-order link in one of the emails and you can pre-order which version you want and those things. Um so I send the link there, you'll be directed to MailChimp, where you will be prompted, you'll see a photo of the book and you'll be prompted to put in your full
Mhm.
name, well, first and last name, your email and your number, at least also your country. I believe most persons most persons are then DLT right now, and DJ Apache is from Trinidad. Well, so wherever you're from or wherever you're
Mhm.
located now, you could put in, you could choose that. So it's like four things, and then you subscribe, and eventually you would see the different letters coming through on your inbox. Make sure you use that email that's working, because if you don't use an email that's working, you're not gonna get the emails, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
All
So
right, so
I'm gonna.
I'm not seeing the link popping up yet. So you may need to share an email address. Is it the same one, beyondtopcity.com? Would that be okay? Yeah, I'm seeing the link now. I'm seeing the link.
It's showing up on Facebook, but not showing up on YouTube.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm seeing the link now. So for those who are on, that's the link. I'm not even sure how to copy and paste this link so that people can find it. But I guess those who are on should be able to just copy this link and go straight to it. And that should lead them. I think that should be much easier. Viewers can just copy the link and it should lead them straight to what you're talking about.
okay.
Yes, yes, it's there now. The link is there now.
Okay. All right.
All right, so that's great. That's great. So I just want to share a little bit on the so that's the link for most people to use, and that will get you. You can pre-order. Also, you can subscribe to something like this. So this is just one of the many emails that you will get, and I'm just reading from one of the recent one. Your educational success has two sides. Each student must make the necessary sacrifice to obtain the grades they desire in their academics. Also, the school system, along with teachers, has their part to play in the students' success also. There is a saying that one hand doesn't clap. That's true. It's evident from my experience as a student and as a teacher that many teachers do not inform students of the order in which they should focus on studying for the examinations. It's just a part of some of the emails that you will receive, but this is very, very great because it can help you as an adult and it can help you as a parent fostering your children into education. So that's really, really powerful. Any final comments that you want to leave with us sis, before we go? And also, if you would want to share any additional information, you can share that with us as well.
Okay, well, at least my closing words would be keep trusting God, right? Regardless of your
Mm,
situation. Things happen in life. I always see trials and sometimes you got tribulations or little hindrances as a way to push harder. Right? There's a saying that I learned that recently that disruption follows intention. Sometimes when it is we are so close to getting there, as you said earlier, when some persons will give up. Right? Don't give up. I see that as a way to push forward. Because I recently had an is
yes.
something I applied for, and they told me I would get a certain amount, and then they changed, and it was a little bit disappointing to me. But I was like, I learned something from one of my trainers, which was like, if it is you don't get through one way, seek out another way, right? So it's always good to be able to be flexible, right? And of course, as
Yes.
long as God is directing you to do that as well, right? Because you don't want to just do your own thing. So just keep trusting God and do what God has called you to do, right? Sometimes you're gonna start with little and you build from there. Don't always try to look to, if God called you to be an entrepreneur or an author, or it could be different giftings. Don't try to just become big all of a sudden. It's not gonna happen overnight. You have to work towards it. I believe that we will do our part. We have to do our part, definitely. That's why God said, without faith, it is impossible to please God, and God will do the rest. So do your part, and God will do the rest. And keep trusting God. His timing is always perfect.
Wow, wow, that's true. That's true. His timing is always perfect. And for those of you who are on, Pastor Phyllis, welcome and happy New Year to you as well. I don't think I've spoken to you directly since the start of the year, so happy New Year to you and your family. Let's talk about Jesus Ministries over there in Queens, New York. Blessings to you. I'm very, very ardent supporter of the Awesome Music Show and what we do. So thank you so much. And for all those who are on Anton Dates, uh, uh, Minister Marlon, and all those who are on today. Thank you so much. Rich Low, brother and friend, thank you so much for joining and for being on the show today. And for all those who are
My
on, just remember, yeah, go ahead, sis. If you have something to say.
Yes, may I interject? He may be interested. That's Anton Dietz. He's minister of the gospel or gospel artist in Trinidad. So I would throw that here. If he is interested, he can always talk to me and I can link you up.
All right, definitely, because I know remember the name. I saw a link from him. I think a friend request. So definitely, man, we'll connect. We'll connect. I think
Yeah.
I saw two requests as well from on my page. So definitely we can link up on that. But any other information you have, you can share it with me as well, sis. That's fine. Because we definitely need ministers to come on the show to share, whether in word, in music. If you have a business and you want to share it, we have the platform here and it's for everybody to share. Definitely, I need to link up with DJ Apache after the show as well for his platform. But it's a pleasure having you on, sis, and I'm encouraged. God's timing is not your timing. Just remember that as you leave the show. He may bless you with an idea or with a prophetic word, but his timing is perfect when he's going to bring it to pass. And those are just some of the things I've gotten from your testimony tonight on the show. And we are proud of you for this book. So for those who are on, I hope they're seeing the link on on YouTube as well. But if not, we can you can always reach out to any of us on any other platforms and we can forward this link to you so that you can pre-order the books and also you can be a part of the mailing list to get these wonderful newsletters on a weekly basis. Well, it's been my pleasure having you on the show, sister. I'm very blessed to have you as a friend, connecting me with so many other ministers in Trinidad and other places. And it's really, really great to have you. So I wish you all the best with the continued success of your book. And I hope wherever you appear on live platforms or in person, it will be nothing but ministry and a success in Jesus' name. So bless you, sisters. We go from the show. And for those who have joined today, thank you so much. All you have to do is just share the broadcast with somebody and they can get all these wonderful details to support Sister Michelle with this wonderful book from an academic failure to academic success. And it talks about how you can move from low grades and failures to even owning your own business, which that's the will of God for many of us, that we will prosper on this earth as long as we continue to serve Him. So God bless you, sis, as you go. For all those who are on tonight, bless you, and God bless you wherever you are. Thank you so much.
Progress.
All right, so as we go from the show, this has been a powerful broadcast. Sister Michelle, Be on Top Succeeders Academy. She is the CEO and founder of that academy. And now she has launched her book from an academic failure to an academic success. And this is really, really powerful. And we are grateful that she could have shared on the show with us today. So as we go from the show, find the book on Amazon and on Kindle, and you can also find the link in the chat so you can support Sister Michelle with her book. And also, if you know somebody in Trinidad or anywhere else, because I'm sure she can do it online, who needs academic help with CXCs or CSEC, especially those in the Caribbean, definitely reach out to Sister Michelle and she can help you through her Academy of Excellence. And I put it that way because it's definitely an Academy of Excellence. She started off a couple years ago. She helped one student with just a short timeline. That student passed with a distinction in her subjects, and she could have helped several other family members. That in itself is a big, big success story. So as we continue to pray for Sister Michelle, as we continue to support her with her endeavors, we pray that you will continue to support the Awesome Music Show as well. And those who have subscribed, thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. I'm now a little bit over 500 subscribers. Yes, my going slow, but I thank God. When we started the show, I was just maybe under 50 subscribers, and 3 years later, over 500. So that's great. I mean, many other channels have blown up and gone thousands, but I'm just thanking God for what He's doing on this very channel. And I'm just grateful to God for that. So as I go from the show, we still have a few more days that you can reach out to me to be on the Awesome Family Cruise 2024, December 14 to 19, and that's going to be leaving from Miami to the Bahamas and several other stops for 5 days. You can reach out to me. All you need to do before the 20th of this month is just to pay $50 to secure your cabin. Then we give you the payment details between August and September to pay the rest of your money for your cabin of choice. So looking forward to seeing you, reaching out to me for the rest of this week, and then we can always talk about that. And I'm sure if you really want to be on a cruise for December, then you can use the next couple of months to save a couple $100 to be on this cruise leaving out of Miami. I'm looking forward to this cruise being an annual cruise. So you need to be on this first one for 2024. So as we go from the show, I'm going to just end the show with Sister Michelle's song one more time, that God is in control, and we want you to know that He is always in control of whatever is happening in your life. It doesn't matter how it seems. He's always in control. This is how we end the show today. Take care of yourselves and be blessed everywhere you are. New York, in Trinidad, in Jamaica, wherever you're watching us from, Philadelphia. To my parents, thank you so much for joining. To my family in the UAE, if you're joining tonight, thank you so much for joining the Awesome Music Show. First Awesome Business Spotlight for 2024. And we are grateful. Be blessed. It's another awesome day given to us by an awesome God to do some awesome things. Take care. Talk to you soon. They can do whatever they want, but they gotta chill there. He's in control. He's in control. He's in control. He's in control. She would be honor, give him the praise. Give him the glory and it's one to achieve. He is the king of kings. So for those who are in the chat, for you to become a part of Sister Michelle's mailing list, that's the link. I just shared it on the screen, so you can just find it in the chat and just subscribe to her mailing list. And also the same link will give you the information that you need to pre-order her book as well. And some days we'll connect after the show, definitely. And also DJ Apache, thanks for joining, bro. We'll connect right after the show. And he's the Lord of Lords. He is the King of Zion. The conquering Lion. And also, Pastor Phyllis, on my next visit to the US, I need to pay you a visit at your church. Definitely, I need to do that. It's not overdue. God bless you and your family members and also your church family. Thank you so much for your support over the years. So bless you. So as I go from the show, it's another awesome day given to us by an awesome God to do some awesome things. Be blessed. Take care of yourselves, everybody. See you soon.